Chicago, 1987. James Carver sat in a tiny kitchen in South Side Chicago, staring at a letter yellowed by time. It was postmarked Montgomery, Alabama, 1965. The name and the return address read, Isaiah Carver, the father he never really knew. He unfolded it. Son. There are truths I never told you, not out of shame, but survival. What James read that night would shake everything he thought he knew about his family and about America. Isaiah Carver was 26 when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat. He wasn't a preacher. He wasn't on TV. He was a janitor at the county courthouse. He'd learned to be invisible, don't talk back, don't look white folks in the eye, don't draw attention. But when the Montgomery bus boycott began, something in Isaiah stirred. Every day, he walked 10 miles to work and back. He donated his small savings to help others do the same. Quietly. Anonymously. His wife, Etta, warned him, they're watching. The white folks ain't gonna let this slide. He thought she meant the police. But betrayal would come from somewhere he never expected. In early 1956, a secret list circulated at the courthouse, black employees suspected of sympathizing with the boycott. Isaiah's name was on it. His supervisor, Mr. Dalton, called him in. I thought you were one of the good ones, Carver. I do my job, sir. But you walk past 3 bus stops every day. Dalton gave him 2 options, turn informant, or lose his job. He could earn a little extra, quietly report who was helping boycott leaders. No one would know. Isaiah refused. 2 days later, he was fired. Without warning, Isaiah was arrested for disturbing the peace. No evidence, no explanation. Just a single night in jail, enough to ruin his reputation and mark him as trouble. His landlord gave him notice. Church leaders stopped inviting him. Even some of the black community distanced themselves. Etta begged him to move north. We'll disappear, like so many others. But Isaiah stayed. He became a driver for the boycott, using a borrowed car at night to ferry old women and tired men. It was dangerous. He was followed, harassed, and once narrowly escaped being run off the road. But he never stopped. In 1963, after threats became more personal, Etta took their only child, James, and moved to Chicago. Isaiah begged her to stay. I can't raise our son to be silent and afraid, she said. And I won't raise him in a grave. The two never divorced, but they never lived together again. Isaiah remained in Montgomery. Alone. Working odd jobs. Attending rallies. Filing complaints no one read. Writing letters to his son that he never mailed. He became part of the movement's forgotten machinery, not the leaders on posters, but the ones in the background, holding everything together. Back in 1987, James Carver, now a 35-year-old high school history teacher, couldn't stop rereading the letter. It was full of things he'd never known. How his father had saved a young activist named John Lewis from being arrested. How he'd been part of the March Planning Committee before Selma. How he had spoken only once at a public rally and had been beaten that same night. James had grown up thinking his father had abandoned them. That he was weak. Cowardly. Absent. But the letter told a different story. One of quiet resistance. Of sacrifice. Of courage in the shadows. Later that year, James took a trip to Montgomery. He found the courthouse still standing. The neighborhood his father lived in was mostly torn down. But the records remained. A local librarian handed him an old black and white photo of a carpool driver's logbook. There was the name, I. Carver. In a dusty archive, he found a flyer for a 1965 rally. His father's handwriting was on the back. Truth doesn't need to be loud to be heard. He cried, not out of sadness, but because for the first time, he felt proud. James returned to Chicago with a mission. He began speaking about his father's story at schools, churches, even city events. He founded a non-profit that awarded scholarships to students whose parents were quiet heroes of the civil rights era. At the first ceremony, James stood at the podium and read the closing lines from the letter his father had written. "One day, you'll know who I really was. Not because I shouted, but because I stood." Isaiah. This is a story of quiet heroism, the kind that isn't photographed, praised, or remembered by history books. It's about the power of doing right, even when the world isn't watching. Isaiah Carver may be fictional, but thousands like him lived, struggled, and shaped the world we walk through today.